The boy deliberately scraped his knees with sandpaper. Then he knelt in a tub of rubbing alcohol. Even though he screamed in pain, he stayed there for 10 full minutes before stopping. His classmates asked him what he was doing.
I'm trying to win the Boston Marathon.
After hearing his answer, they called him a nerd. Even the principal tried to talk him out of competing. Because a marathon is 26 miles long, most adults can't even finish it, let alone a fragile middle school kid like him. But the boy ignored their advice and secretly entered a 10-kilometer race in town. While everyone else wore sweaters and shorts, he showed up in just a thin t-shirt as if declaring to the world that he would never give up. When the starting bell rang, he dashed out ahead of the others.
Slow down, kid. You'll never last 10 miles at that pace.
There's only one way to find out.
The whole town cheered him on, except for one man who didn't believe in him. And sure enough, the boy ran out of energy and missed his chance to win. Some people might think he was crazy. Why would a 14-year-old be so obsessed with running a marathon? But the truth is, he wanted to achieve something extraordinary to wake his mother from a coma in the hospital. He was only 14. So how could he possibly make a marathon miracle come true? This is a true inspirational story, a story of love and dreams worth every moment of your attention. The mother accidentally walked in on her daughter using the bathroom, but to her shock, she discovered a terrifying truth.
She has hair.
What? What hair?
Down there. I don't think she's a little girl.
That wasn't the only strange thing. When the mom tried to help her take a bath, the girl firmly refused. But just 10 days ago, this girl had just been adopted from an orphanage. She looked so sweet and well-behaved and showed no signs of fear when she first met her new parents. The couple was overjoyed. Having a daughter had always been their dream. Even her 3 new brothers welcomed her with open arms. But things didn't go as planned. The orphanage informed them that Natalie's previous adoptive parents had arranged a hip surgery for her. Now the new parents had to cover the cost. The bill was $7,000 and the couple was stunned. After all, the orphanage had never mentioned that Natalie needed a walker to get around. Chris was about to open his daycare center, and they already had 3 kids to raise. This unexpected cost was a huge burden, but when he looked at Natalie's innocent face, Chris clenched his teeth and said, "We'll pay for it. That's what the money is for. Helping kids, right?" And so they brought Natalie home, but they had no idea a nightmare was just beginning. The woman used coupons to buy $5,000 worth of products at the supermarket. The store even gave her $2.50 back in change.
Your trophy.
To collect more coupons, she bought stacks of newspapers at a low price. Then she carefully clipped out every coupon one by one. Other than her husband and her house, everything she owned came from coupons. One day, she opened a box of cereal and took a bite. She realized it was expired and immediately filed a complaint online. She trashed the brand in her review and gave the cereal a terrible rating. Surprisingly, that same afternoon, she received an apology letter. Inside was a free voucher for a new box of cereal. She went straight to the store and exchanged it for a fresh one. Even the cashier couldn't believe it. But the woman was proud of what she had done. The cashier told her that companies care so much about their reputation, they'll send out coupons anytime someone complains. She said this kind of thing happens all the time. That gave the woman an idea. She stopped wasting time clipping coupons and instead started writing complaint letters to major brands. In just a few days, she received a whole table full of vouchers. Her best friend was shocked. If they turned all those vouchers into products, they could be worth over $10,000. The woman said she couldn't possibly use them all, but if she sold them for half price, she could make a fortune. Her best friend was an online sales influencer, so this was easy money for her. She even said she could sell out everything in under 2 hours. But writing complaint letters nonstop was exhausting, so they set their sights on the coupon printing factory. They drove all the way to Mexico. Stealing coupons wasn't an option. Instead, they decided to team up with someone on the inside. After checking things out, they identified a man working there and decided to recruit him. The best friend was great at selling and even better at making promises. The man quickly agreed. He explained that the company prints tons of extra coupons every day just in case they're needed. Unused coupons were supposed to be destroyed, but even if tens of thousands went missing, no one would notice. For him, grabbing a few was a piece of cake. He would just ship them to the woman by mail. Soon, the woman was receiving boxes full of vouchers every day. Selling through her friend's live stream wasn't fast enough anymore, so they launched a new business, selling discount coupons directly. Before long, the friend became a top influencer. Their website sales went through the roof. Every night, they packed up orders and shipped them out. Shoppers across the country started using those cheap coupons. And just like that, their journey to getting rich had officially begun.
I need to buy a gun.
Beth once had a lovely daughter, but she died in a car accident. What was supposed to be a happy family of 3 was torn apart forever. Since then, there's been a rift between Beth and her husband. Rob especially blamed Beth for the accident, thinking it was her negligence. Beth carried that guilt for years. Outside the hospital, Beth saw her neighbor Mary, her face bruised. Beth went to Mary's house to ask what had happened. Mary said her husband hit her after seeing her chat with a younger man. Beth was sympathetic, but Mary simply said they were no different. Turns out, Mary knew about Rob's affair too. She asked Beth why she hadn't left him yet.
He likes to threaten me with a loaded gun he keeps in his bedside drawer. So I stay. What in God's name is your excuse?
Keep hoping for a miracle that one day everything will change.
You and I should be friends. We have a lot in common.
Beth decided to leave Rob, but when Rob came to her office to say goodbye, Beth's secretary revealed a long-hidden truth. Back then, the secretary was also having an affair with Rob. That day, while they were secretly together at home, Beth came back unexpectedly with her daughter. Rob told the secretary to get dressed and sneak out the back door, but in her panic, she forgot to close the door. That mistake led to the tragedy that killed the little girl. What broke Beth completely was what came next. Rob knew she didn't close the door. "I have one question," Beth said. "Did Rob know you didn't close the gate? I called him that night and told him everything. He said he could forgive me, as long as I never told anyone else what happened." Heartbroken, Beth made up her mind to get revenge. She told the secretary to keep their conversation a secret. Beth wasn't going to leave him. She was staying to take her revenge. And that brings us back to the very beginning.
I need to buy a gun.
The woman became incontinent after giving birth. The senior nurse nearly threw up when she first walked in. The living room was filled with stained sheets and diapers. She found that Jenny's feet were covered in sores. The nurse suspected a urinary tract infection. She urged Jenny to go to the hospital immediately, but Jenny said she felt too filthy. Her husband found her disgusting and moved out to live with a friend.
I'm dirty.
That's not true.
My husband says the smell is very bad. Oh, sorry.
Don't apologize.
Please go, please.
The nurse promised to return with a doctor next time, but Jenny ran away as soon as she heard that. A week later, the doctor and nurse came to her house. Under their gentle questioning, Jenny finally shared her secret. 3 months ago, she had a difficult labor and delivered a stillborn baby. Her mother-in-law and husband were furious. Soon after, her health started to decline. The infection could reach her kidneys. If left untreated, it could become life-threatening. Despite the doctor's repeated urging, Jenny refused treatment. The nurse then approached Jenny's children. She asked them where their father was staying. At first, they wouldn't say, but after learning their mother's life was in danger, they agreed to help. When the husband found out Jenny was sick, he seemed annoyed. Only after the children begged him did he agree to visit. But the moment he saw her, he started blaming her. Jenny looked like she was about to cry. The man said, "You still need to take care of the kids." That hit Jenny's weak spot. She finally agreed to get examined, but she refused to let a male doctor touch her, so the doctor had to guide the nurse from outside the room. The nurse undressed Jenny carefully. As the exam went on, the nurse became more and more shocked.
There's an opening in the anterior vaginal wall, quite high up, close to the cervix.
How big is it?
2 or 3 inches.
Wonder she hasn't any control.
The urine is very dark.
She's probably been restricting her fluid intake, which makes a urinary tract infection more likely.
Everything more painful. Well done. All over.
The man just wanted to get back at his teammate, but he didn't expect the baseball to hit the guy straight in the back of the head. The guy dropped instantly. There was no way he'd survive. He thought about calling the cops, but then remembered he was retiring tomorrow. In the end, he didn't make the call. There were no security cameras in the facility. It was after hours. Nobody else was around. All he had to do was go back in, put on gloves, wipe his fingerprints, and leave a bat next to the body. It would look like a freak accident from the pitching machine. The team had been losing money for years. Their pitching machine was secondhand and unreliable. It misfired all the time. No one would suspect foul play. Honestly, that teammate was just too greedy. Russ was the team's star pitcher. He had also led the team to a legendary 29-game losing streak. Even the fans couldn't take it anymore, and the owner had finally had enough. They were planning a full roster shakeup, Russ included. He was already preparing for retirement. Then a teammate brought unexpected news. A gambling site had put 22-1 odds on the team's next 5 games. If they lost all 5 and broke the league's losing record, a $10,000 bet would return $220,000. Since Russ was retiring anyway, he figured he might as well take the gamble. Even if he got banned for life, it'd be worth it. Russ and 4 teammates were in. They pulled together whatever cash they had. All they had to do was play just bad enough. Soon enough, they nailed 4 straight losses. But before the last game, the coach made a surprise announcement. A new guy named Philip would be starting as pitcher, replacing Russ. The pitcher controls the whole game, and they had too much money riding on this to risk a tie. A loss was the only acceptable outcome. That's when Carl came